Talk therapy. Sister, let's talk. Get ready for real, raw, relevant information. We don't hold back. Topics from ministry, life, marriage, and everything in between. So, buckle up, hold on tight. Here are your hostesses, Tara and Melody. Talk therapy. Sister, let's talk.
All right. Hello. It is time for talk therapy. It is Tuesday. It is September the 1st. And guess what, you guys? It's my birthday month. It is my birthday month. I'm excited. I'm celebrating all month long. But we have a let me suggest it a little bit. We have a great topic for you guys tonight. For you guys that are following us, you know all of our topics are real, raw, and relevant. And tonight's topic is no different. Topic is no different. I am your host, Tara T. Stallings, and
I am Melody Manning. How y'all doing this evening?
yes. Um, let's talk about it. I mean, sex trafficking, sex and human trafficking. You know, from darkness to light is our title tonight. And I'm gonna try to. I told Melody. Oh my gosh, my tongue is twisted tonight. I'm already excited that she's gonna have to take the wheels on this topic. And the reason that she's gonna have to take the wheel on this topic because it's sensitive in the point that I have the passion that I have about it. So, and I can go all off on different aspects of it. So we're gonna keep it in line tonight. We're gonna keep it in line, and this may be a two-topic show. A two-topic show. Listen here, you guys. So y'all that's listening, that's tuning in to our podcasters, I tell you what, Melody and those glasses, she popping tonight. She is popping tonight. I
Oh,
love them. I love them. Yes.
thank you, Tara. Thank you. Well, you talking about holding you. I've been in prayer for about the last hours because I had a whole nother spirit come over me.
And it's
uh,
easy.
yeah, thinking about you know this topic. It's a touchy topic, and I think it's time we have some real grown folks conversation about it. So I'm gonna say this to start. If you got somebody under 18 or you near where they can hear us, you might want to send them to the other room because I think it's time that we get real with this because so many people think when they think sex trafficking, they're thinking maybe up north in big cities and it's some we see in the movies or whatnot, but it's a real thing. And in the state of Georgia, Augusta plays an integral part in sex trafficking, believe it or not. And it has many different forms, different avenues, of ways that it can occur. And there's a lot of different things that falls under sex trafficking. Sex trafficking is they can take you by force, it can be by persuasion, it's prostitution, and it's people. Let me say this because it's not just young girls. We can't say young girls. It's boys also that are being becoming a part of the sex trafficking, and this is a very sensitive subject, and I told you I had prayed for the last hour because I had a whole nother spirit come over me, because I want to say this, and I'm going to get this on off my chest. We as a people, we talk about we want to be woke, or we are woke. We still sleeping. When you don't realize all the things that are actually affecting our community, and nobody's talking about it. And we're not talking about it because the majority of us, well, let me say this. It may have hit your front door, but it's that family secret or that uncle or even that auntie that nobody talks about it. You know about it, but you're not talking about it. The family knows about it. The neighbors know about it. Ministers know about it, but it's just something that nobody's really talking about. And I'm going to venture to say in the Afro American community. You hear a lot about it in your Caucasian counterparts that are talking about it, but we're not having a conversation that affects us a good bit. So I think we need to really pay attention. And if you really want to be involved in your community, and so many of y'all say you want to be woke, let's get woke for real. Let's wake up for real. Because so many of us, because this the stuff that ran through my head. So many of us women running around here crying about men and posting about men that ain't nothing but male prostitutes and stuff, and you got a relative that's being prostituted and you ain't saying nothing.
That's right. I agree
So
with you.
it's time that we talk about this stuff and talk about the forms of it and how it looks and how it can even be introduced. Um, And Tara, I know it's very close to you. You're very involved in it or whatnot. But you know me, I'm that researcher. And I was shocked at what I found out. And it's right here, in our
Right here
area.
in Augusta.
How,
Yeah.
I've heard of stories, and we got to get off of some of these kids and deal with the real issues. Because some of them are just trying to survive, you know. Because doing this, the prostitution, is better than what they got at home. So
Yeah.
if you got a friend that ain't doing right by her, I feel like you are obligated to say, hey, you need to do right by your kids. Or your kids are doing such and such. But we're so used to culturally, at some point things change for us. And I have my own theories as to when things change. That we're in our own houses and we've lost that village mentality. Because I remember when we were little, if you were out and you did something, I don't care who it was in the community. They could snatch you up and did tell your mom and dad. It was never a problem. Them telling your mom and daddy, hey, I noticed her doing this, or she was with such and such, and she ain't had no business doing this. Or, you know what? I see that your children hungry and your children know God. Let me give you something to eat or whatnot. And they didn't talk about it around the community. We have totally lost it. Now, if you say something to somebody's child or whatnot, you got to fight the mama.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I mean, and they can know their child wrong, but you get that. I know you didn't say nothing to my child. You know what I'm saying now. But I'm gonna say this. Let me stand this corrected. You can say, and this was my personal thing. You can say something to my child if you've shown my child love. If you ain't never showed my child love, then yeah, I was a little particular, but I never would address it in front of that child. Because children need to be able to see both sides, the discipline and also the love.
Exactly. And that's what's happening in not just our community, but globally. Children have been exploited for years. For years. Sex trafficking, human trafficking. Um, and because of the media, because of cell phones, cameras on people, it's being noticed more. But it's been happening for years. Um, Again, you said it's something that we don't talk about. It starts in our neighborhood, it starts in our families. We need to really address the elephant in the room. We have so many cultural abnormalities, cultural abnormalities within our culture that confusion is prevalent. And when I say that, again, I deal with the youth. I deal with displaced women, and I have had so many conversations, generational conversations, where women have taught their children, their daughters, as long as you have something between your legs, you should never be broke. That's sexual trafficking. That's exploitation. So they teach them to prostitute, and it's okay. They've been doing this for years in our community. Now, 2000, the children have the mentality that it's just sex. It's just sex. So when they get exploited and the caregiver or the parents are not taking care of them for whatever reason it is, it's a means of escape a lot of times until they get drugged into the dangerous part of it, the life-threatening part of it. Well, it's all life-threatening, but of course they woo you in, just like any type of predator. They woo you in with things and stuff that you don't have. I have experienced parents in the 2000s with their teenage daughters exploiting them for a half gallon of liquor or a pound of weed, using the excuse that, hey, they gotta learn sometime with a man that's old enough to be their grandfather. And I gotta stay calm because it's sensitive to me, and it's sensitive because it hurts, especially in the African American community. We always point the finger at what the white man is doing, what the white man has done. But he has taught us well to exploit ourselves. He's taught us to exploit ourselves, exploit our children. Now, when I say the white man, I'm not pointing the finger at a race, because we all know it's the enemy that's behind it all. But he has taught us to exploit ourselves, our children, our daughters. And I won't just say it's men, because you have men and women that exploit them so often. And I'm going to read this article in just a second that I just pulled up, and just broke my heart. Broke my heart. It's so often that, and Melody, you said it, that these women, because of their low self-esteem or wanting a man or a woman, because women exploit also, get in and out of these relationships, bringing these different people in and out of these children's lives. Uncle so-and-so, auntie so-and-so, cousin them, not knowing anything about these people. Oh, they cool. You know nothing about these people. Nothing. They slept with you all night, and while you sleeping, they up in there playing with your child, fondling with your child. And sadly to say, even in the 2020, it's still parents that when their children are exploited, they don't believe them. They don't believe them. I want to read this article, and then I'm going to let Mel take over, because, see, I can go on. Just today in the news, Fox News had an article of a 23-year-old man in Texas. Police officers, paramedics were called to the scene. Man, there, 9 months, 9-month-old child his child, not his girlfriend child, but his child was dead from suffocation. When they got the child home, I mean to the a hospital, they realized that the child died from suffocation because the child had been molested. A 9-month old, the the real father. I'm gonna say the real biological father molested and killed his own child. It's time for us to stop sweeping stuff up under the rug and talk about these real issues. Mel and I said it a couple of weeks ago when they were talking about Black Lives Matter, and I know a lot of y'all follow me. And one of the comments that was on the post is, we don't need to explore our wrongs. We need to stick together. That's the problem. We never deal with the wrongs within the family, and they always trickle out. Where, we talk about who is my brother's keeper, who keeping these kids? Who's watching these boys? Because it's not just girls being molested, because uncles were having sex with these boys too. They ain't just raping the girls. They're raping the boys. They raping the girls. They raping the babies. They selling them. The mamas are selling these babies to pop pills, to pay rent. We have to address this issue, Melody.
Let me. Boy, that one took me. Let me say this also. Predator, from my research today, because I sat down and I took a look at some stuff. Predators don't have a certain look to them. These people that are luring young children into this and taking advantage of young children, they don't have a certain look about them. And we when we go through the teaching of our kids, we give them that old time lesson that we got. Hey, they gonna try to get you with candy, or they gonna come up to you and stuff. They could be right in the family and in the house with the kids, and it could be somebody you least expect, but we get comfortable and allow certain things to happen and become blind to a lot of things. So we have to really start paying attention to, and I always say, I listen to what people say and what they don't say. We got to start looking at what people do and what they're not doing. Because there are certain behaviors that, they display, but we can look over it so easily and say, oh, she just grown. She fast. Well, yeah, because it's an underlying issue there. And if it's never addressed, what do you think she's going to produce later on in life? What do you think she's going to pass on to her child? It then becomes a cycle. It's a generational curse because it's going to go down. And then you wondering why your grandkids acting out a certain way or doing a certain thing. Well, it started a couple of generations back and it was kept a secret and nobody ever talked about it. So don't get so caught up. It's not a scary looking guy. It's not a scary looking woman. They don't always act weird. They are not always loners. Because I'm telling you, I went over a list from a big bust. We just recently had a bust.
Yes.
And it was what, 30 kids, 30 missing,
39 kids.
39 missing kids was discovered. And that was in Atlanta and Macon, within those two areas. Last year, in my research. August of last year and May of last year, there were rapes with ties in Augusta. Yeah. Let me get my notes because I'm gonna tell you how many kids was
Mm-hmm.
recovered in that one. See, this is the kind of stuff we're not asking our politicians where you stand at on
Mm-hmm.
this.
Because
What
our
do you?
politicians know what's going on. Half of them, they part of those rings.
Oh yeah, because Augusta, even this one, and I may be wrong, but from what I read, Augusta participated in the last two.
Yeah.
Were
Well, you
involved.
know, remember a couple of years ago, it was a state senator. They had a remember that we had a child in the state of Georgia that got killed in foster care. They started investigating this. They was taking kids from their parents, putting them in foster care, putting giving them to known sex offenders, giving those children to known sex offenders. This senator started investigating this situation. It was going to blow the top off of this stuff that was going on within the system, within the system. And mysteriously, her and her husband had a murder suicide. Y'all know I'm a conspiracy. Yes, I forget her name. White lady. I have to look it up. But that was like maybe been 10 years ago, maybe. And
Mm.
mysteriously, because they were investigating the Department of Family Children Services taking children from the parents, and their job is to supposedly get the children back with the parents, giving custody to known sex offenders.
Wow.
So see, this is bigger than just what we think. It's on a governmental, national, global level. And the media never talks about it. We get bits and pieces, like just the other week, the 39 people. We think, oh, that was a lot of people. Nothing compared to what's really going on. They give us enough to say, oh, that's so sad. But they don't tell you about those 40,000 black women that's missing every year. 65,000, I'm sorry, that's black women that's missing every year that's not accountable for. They don't talk about those 250,000 children that go missing every 12 months. I'm not talking over 10 years. Every 12 months that they never talk about. They don't share that information. We get the little bits and pieces. Oh, it was 39 here. They got 12 here. No, this thing is bigger than what it is. And we don't talk about it because we don't educate ourselves on what's really going on. You said it in the beginning. People that think they woke, they really sleep. They're not really woke to what's really going on. And we are really talking the surface because we're not even talking about the spiritual side of this. We talk about the natural side of it. It's what's going on in Deuteronomy. And I'm just going to throw this out and I'm going to let you finish. This is nothing new. The Bible said, my Bible, I don't know about y'all Bible, but my Bible said in Deuteronomy, there is, it talks about sex trafficking. It talks about it and what to do to those people. And because that spirit stays in there and molesting, it talks about sex trafficking. When you take a woman and make sure I use the right word, and take her and use her to make money, her body out sexually to make money. That ain't about sex. Prostitution and sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing new. But we don't talk about these things because this is what's really going on. Now I don't like I got to be careful what I say because see, I'm not accountable to nobody but God, and I don't care what nobody says. I don't like President Trump's personality. Period. I don't like him. But I do give props where people deserve them. He has done more than any president related to pedophilia and sex trafficking. than anybody. But that kind of stuff ain't on that news. Now let me just say this. I don't like President Trump. I don't like him, but I have to respect him as as my leader, because that's what my word tell me to do, and pray for him. But anybody else, see, that kind of stuff is not on the news. When we listen to the Democratic and the Republican Party, they don't talk about the real issues. They don't talk about these real things, because see, everything works together. Everything works together. They give us bits and pieces, and we go, oh, yeah. But we're not getting the truth. We're getting a part of the truth. And anytime you get a part of the truth, you get a lie. You get a lie. And we have to start doing our research, because we got Google Gaga. We got Google. You can Google this stuff. What was that old saying? If you want to keep something from a person, put it in a book. Well, they said if you want to keep it from a black person, put it in the book. Because we don't want to research. We'll believe anything that somebody tell us that sound right. If it sound right, or it go along with something we halfway believe, oh yeah, that's right. You never research. It's children, it's women, it's not boys and girls that go missing every day, you guys. I mean, every day. And we have to talk about this. I see children at the park, the parents have looking at them. I got kids in the neighborhood. I'm like, lady, don't let your child run off like that. Because it don't take but 1 second for a truck to come by and sweep that child up, and there's nothing you can do about it. I remember, I think I told you, Melody, I was at the truck stop. Or were we together?
I can't
I don't
remember.
know if we were together. And I was going to the bathroom. No, I think that was me and one of my other friends. I was in the bath. You know, the truck stop has a bathroom in there. I was in the truck stop. The daddy and the daughter came, and the little boy, little girl, she could have been no more than about 4 or 5 years old, in the truck stop. And, you know, he was bringing her to the bathroom. Didn't realize that the mama was with them, standing in line to get in. And he saw me standing there. So he was like, okay, you going on in there with her? And, you know, didn't know me from Adam's house cat. We had a truck stop. The little girl in the bathroom with me. The daddy just let her in there. Do you know how easily that little girl could have got raped in that bathroom? Easily violated, raped, killed in that bathroom. And I made sure I stayed in there with that little girl and opened that door for her and stood out there, because her daddy hadn't come out the bathroom yet, and waited, because I was so furious. I was like, how in the world can you leave your child? But I understand people don't think, oh, nothing's gonna happen. It takes nothing but a second for something to happen. In Augusta, remember a few years ago, we had the red truck, to beware of the red truck that was snatching up kids. We don't talk about that anymore. Snatching up kids during the daytime. We just blow that stuff up under the rug. We got to talk about it. We have to talk about it, Melody, because you know I'm getting a little heated.
Let me say this. Let me add this to this. Sex trafficking does not always mean that the child is kidnapped,
Nope.
because they also have brothels, what we call brothels. So again, that's why you got to pay attention to your neighbors, as to who may be coming in and out the house. Sex trafficking does not always mean that the child has been kidnapped. I just want to give you some information that I found today, and I was shocked because Augusta had ties to these. And in the list of the people that were arrested, there were a few Augusta people in here, and they actually gave their names and they gave their professions and their ages. No, it's not old creepy men, you know. No, it's not homeless men. No, it's not drug abusers. On this list of the people that were arrested, there were business owners, there were county workers, There were a number of people who we would think, oh, they would never do that. And you all can Google it because it was right there. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at, wow. A couple of them had child molestation charges previously. And I think the youngest one I saw on there that was, now these were the arrested, not the children recovered. These were the ones who were doing it. And some were from Augusta. Y'all might want to Google it because it gave names, it gave ages, and it gave professions. Prostituting took on a new name years ago. It became part of the sex trafficking. Guess what? It carries a heavier charge under that than it did prostitution. Because you got women that's prostituting that don't want to prostitute. Every prostitute ain't happy to be a prostitute or want to be a prostitute. So just keep that in mind. But August 2019 and Augusta was part of both of these. 103 juveniles were recovered. I'm not saying they were all here in Augusta, but Augusta was a part of this investigation. 103 juveniles were recovered. Not in the state of South Carolina, not in the state of North Carolina, not in Florida. This was right here in Georgia, and Augusta was a part of this. I don't remember hearing about this. This was just August 2019, a year ago. 67 traffickers were arrested. We had some in that arrest that were from Burke County and Augusta, Georgia. Also, April of May of 2019, they recovered 17 children. There were 82 traffickers arrested. That's a lot of kids. Even besides the sex trafficking, do we even hear of this many kids being reported missing? So if we don't hear this many kids being reported missing, to
What is
me,
that saying?
that almost sounds like somebody, you know.
What it makes it almost validates what I said. It's not, it's the government, it's the politicians. Because, and if you notice, they don't, it's a certain, they look for the children that come from broken homes. It's a certain type of child that they look for. When it relates to higher level, because it's different levels of sex trafficking and human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Different levels. Children, the smaller children, because you have what they call breeders. And I'm just gonna what they call breeders. They have women that they rape constantly to have children. They breed children. They just like cattle. They breed them. For whatever reason, and we're not gonna get in that today, that they use those children sexually and for sacrifices. They're called breeders. Then you have the higher level males and females, because it's not just females. The higher level children that they use for just sexual pleasure. The exotic looking children, the mixed ones, the exotic looking ones, the price is higher. They sell them like cattle. They sell them like cattle. So we have to be aware of what is really going on and stop looking at the surface of things. We don't pay attention to what's really going on until it hits us personally. And then you said earlier, then we try to blame the kid. Oh, they were just a bad kid. No kid deserves to be sex trafficked. No child. Whether they promiscuous or not. If you have a 10-year-old that's promiscuous, that's because somebody been messing with them. That's because that child has been molested, a pedophile. Somebody has messed with that child. Children just don't wake up and say, oh, I want to have sex. They're introduced to sex by someone older than them or someone that has been molested themselves. Because you have children that prey on children because those children were preyed on.
Mm-hmm.
And then we penalize the children for their behavior and never get to the root of the problem. I never forget a case that was shared with me. A mother had 11 children. She would keep all the girls and give the boys away. The oldest one was 11, the youngest one was 3. And she was a black woman. She wasn't white. She was prostituting her children. When the court system finally took the children away, I think it was the 8 or 9 year, the 8-year-old, 11-year-old, because she had been molested all her life. That's all she knew. She knew if I give up sex, I can get a cell phone, I can get shoes, I can get whatever I want. So in foster care, guess what she kept doing? She kept running away because she had a cell phone. These men knew how to get in contact with her. They get, and the foster parent was like, she just fast. No, this is all she knows. That's all she knows. Whether you are violated or not, your body gonna respond the way it's supposed to respond.
Yep.
Whether you purposely doing it or you've been back, it's gonna respond that way. And it's so sad that so many people never want to talk about the root of the problem, but they always talk about the behavior of these children. You have fathers that rape their children. You have uncles that rape their nieces and nephews. I had another, I remember another a case. Father raping their own children. The father, not the mother. The father raping their own boys, not girls. They were boys. So we have to understand. Listen, we have to get a man the other day, and I think I posted it on my Facebook. And see, this telephone family. Let me tell y'all something. Grandmamas, mamas, cousins, aunties. My granddaughter get mad with me when she come to my house because I don't let her be on that cell phone or on the YouTube all day. I make her do something constructive. She get mad with me, so now she's 8. She don't really want to come because she knows she can't play on that cell phone because her mama let her play on the cell phone all day, playing roadblocks. They're showing explicit stuff to children, subliminal messages. We have to stop letting the television, YouTube, and these cell phones be the babysitter, because that's how the predators coming in. The young man just the other day was talking about how his children, because everything is online now, right? Everything is online, and he said that the pedophiles hacked into the school system online services and started showing hardcore porn to these children. When a child sees something, it doesn't come out they can't erase it. They say, oh, you can't just don't put your eyes over. They never forget that. It piques their curiosity. Spiritually, that opens a gate for them. Even in the adults. Even adults. It opens up a gate. So we have to be mindful. We have to get educated. Woke people really need to wake up. Because woke is not a movement. Woke means you got revelation, and you can't be woke unless you serving the real God, the Most High God, not one of these false gods. Now, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. You can't be woke for real unless you submitted and committed to the real God, because there's a lot of false gods out here that you say you woke to. That's behind a lot of this. Well, all of it. That's behind that spirit. That's behind um this sex trafficking. That's murdering our children, murdering our women, murdering our boys. We really need to talk about it, and I think a Melody, this is not the show to talk about it, but on one of our shows, we're gonna talk about, and this is a touchy subject, but we're gonna have to talk about it. And I don't care if you don't get mad. This is real, raw, and relevant. It's the truth. Google it. We got to talk about the gay manifesto. And I'm not a homophobe at all. I don't care what you do. But I'm gonna say this: what's between your legs? I don't care what you do with it. That's what you do with it. But we need to realize the agenda that has been propagated in our society for years to get us to this point. Things never just happen. The spirit that has propagated these things that we are voting yes on now, and we don't know what we're voting yes for.
Yeah. That gay manifesto, I read that. You can Google it, and it's a government document. And this document was written how many years ago? I forgot.
70. It was written in the 70s, and it was revived in 81.
Yeah, you'll be shocked at the layout of the plans in this document, and that this document actually exists. And you can Google it because it is a government um, document.
Gay
Take some
manifesto,
time.
and
Yeah,
it's
take
what
some
in
time
that
to.
document, in everything that they laid out. Is it not manifested now?
It is. Take some time, Google it, and get your glass of wine and sit down and read it. You'll be shocked, very shocked at
Yeah.
what you discover in this government document. But also, let me say this because you were talking about the YouTube, and because I have grandkids, and they're fascinated with YouTube, think they want to be YouTube stars, and all of this, and they all have iPhones, and and I always like to say my grandkids got these really big personalities, but I'm kind of mindful of what they watch also, but it goes even further than that. This, and I'm the folks may get mad with me, and it's different opinions and different feelings on it. Now I'm gonna tell you, this song WAP,
Yeah.
it leaves nothing to the imagination. And the reason I'm concerned with it, and let me say this, I'm not just attacking that song, because if you like the song, listen to it by all means. But I just think that song is for adult dose. Our children should not be listening to this, because basically that song is telling you, if you use what you got and if you put it on the other person good, you can get what you want.
And that's not what been said through generations.
It leaves, and the reason it concerns me, because it is so clear, it leaves nothing to the imagination. Yeah, you had your Marvin Gaye with the sexual healing and stuff, but it was a little, it. If you were a young child, it took you a minute to really figure out some of the lyrics and stuff. But that song leaves nothing to the imagination. And a lot of our young girls are looking at what's in media. They're looking at it for style. They're looking at it for fashion. They're listening to those lyrics. They're seeing what's on TV when they're performing and whatnot. So what do you think is forming part of their personalities and stuff. And I'm gonna say that because they're starting at such a young age, looking at it on YouTube and stuff. And me and Tara, we had this conversation last week. I was like, Tara, I don't even think they do what they used to. Because I remember when I was a teenager, when certain songs came out, there was a clean version of a song, and then there was the explicit version of a song.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one particular song, and I told Tara, I said, well, I just really learned the actual lyrics to the song because I always only heard the clean version on the radio. So when I'm a Biggie fan, and I did like Jaheim, and it's one particular song, and I used to like the song. But then when I heard, the real version of the song, I was like, whoa, okay. So this what we doing? So
Yeah.
things are different. I don't even know if they still do that. But every time if I'm scrolling Facebook, or if I'm somewhere and I hear the song, I don't hear a clean version of it. I hear the actual lyrics. So we have to be careful because all it is starts opening up stuff because we're basically teaching our young kids, hey, and not just our girls, our boys too.
Yes.
Because boys get curious and they want girls, and we're teaching them, okay, let me spend a little bit of money on her, and then I can get her to do whatever she want to do.
Make it rain.
Yeah, and not in a healthy way. Let me say it, because men should be providers. A husband should be a provider. Let me say that.
Say that.
So, so it's not teaching our young men or our young boys in a healthy manner. And then we wonder why sometimes we dealing with these men child because they thinking, if hey, I can have her, I can have her, and I can have her. You know,
Was
so
it that
we
little
got
boost? What was the young? What that was the little boosty that took his 12-year-old son, paid a prostitute to have sex with him after that issue with Dwayne Wade and his son. I think that was Lil Boosie. That was the rapper Lil Boosie made that he had allegedly, because it wasn't proved, because I wasn't there, it was allegedly that he paid a prostitute to have sex with his son. And that type of mentality, 12-year-olds, I think it was 12 or 13 years old his son was, that's traumatizing. See, men don't realize trauma is trauma. You open up gates. Just like girls get molested, boys get molested. Men deal with being adequate more so than girls do.
mm-hmm.
A lot of times it goes to this. Then you see them with that what we call, oh, he's just a hoe. Well, you don't know why he a hoe, because he may be a hoe because he doesn't feel adequate.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And that's what's going on with and I hate to interrupt you, but I just want to
No,
add
no.
this. That's why a lot of us women are dealing with those type of men because they've got other issues, other underlying issues that they're not dealing with, and that's the way that they are. I'm gonna almost say self-medicating themselves as to how to deal with the issue, cover up with it, 'cause some you have to listen to what people are
Yes.
saying.
You have
Sometimes
men
there's
that were raped. They were raped.
yeah,
Every man that's raped is not a homosexual.
true.
They don't, everybody, just like every female. But now sometimes that does happen, because the thing about sex is this: when whether it's molestation or it's consensual, whatever, it's not just a physical exchange, it's a spiritual exchange. And you don't know what kind of spirits that those people have in them that they exchange in you over and over. But you have children, men, boys that are molested, and then they become promiscuous later on because they're trying to prove their masculinity. Then you have those some same scenario where boys are molested, and then they think, well, this my truth. No, that's not your truth. You were molested. and that spirit in that person was imparted in you. The same thing as females. You have females that were molested, and you see the both sides. You see the little girls that's promiscuous, that's sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and then you see these girls that now, because they were molested, now I want to be a dude because I gotta protect myself. I gotta protect myself because I don't want that to happen no more. So now I'm gonna be the personification of what hurt me. So I'm not hurt anymore. And we never talk about it. We just say, oh, that's how they were. Mm-mm. Nobody came here having sex. Now, I will say this, because all things being equal, you were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. Whatever generational curse you got in your family, whether it's being a hoe, I gotta say it like that, being a hoe, whorish, perversion is perversion. I don't care how you look at it. Whether it's lesbianism, homosexuality, pedophilia, being a whoremonger, it's all perversion. Perversion is perversion. One is not better than the other, but we label it. You have parents, and I don't know who this is for, but I'm gonna say what I'm saying. You have parents that will dismiss their children because of their sexual behavior is not conducive to what they believe or what they say they believe. But they will okay them having fornicating, long as they fornicating with what they believe.
Come on.
That's crazy to me. Fornication is fornication. Whether they are, if they homosexual, lesbian, or whatever, if that's what they choose, how dare you throw them out and disown them because of that? But then it's okay if they was a whoremongering, if he was a boy, I'm using a boy, if he got 15 children around here and sleeping around with everybody, is you okay with that? In the name of the Lord. That's crazy. Fornication still is a sin. Period. It ain't went away because everybody doing it. It's still a sin. Homosexuality is still a sin. It didn't go away because everybody talking about love. Period. It's still wrong. Sorry. It was wrong when I was doing it, and it's wrong if you do it. It's still wrong. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. As that person say that I ain't gonna say her name.
So we do have to be mindful. This is going to be a 2-part series because next week we're going to pick up on this because I want to talk about some other things as to why we need to be aware of what's going on in our area before it hits our front door,
Yes.
or if it is at your front door, what you can do to handle it. Because I do want to touch on the laws in California because, you know, you can have laws passing in your areas, you know, your states, because one of the things is we don't participate in a lot of things. So a lot of things get passed and then we're told about it after it's passed. But that law that's out in California now, that's something, you know, we really need to be up on. Um, and I think we kind of touched on it um, last week. Tara, right
Mhm.
quick, can you tell them what the law is in
It's the
California right
legislative
now?
law. I think it's 1172 or 1174. And what that law basically talks about in that law, talks about a lot of things, but in that law, it talks about if you are 18 and younger, you're 18 year old and younger, and you're caught prostituting, you cannot be prosecuted. So that means the person that your pedophile can't be prosecuted either. If you're a pedophile and that's you consider that your gender, you can't go to jail. because that's considered a gender. And just for the record, they are trying to pass the law in the DSM-5. I'm a counselor. DSM-5, where that used to be a disorder. They trying to take this stuff out to say it's a gender. It's a gender now. Pedophilia is a gender. They are teaching this in Stanford University. It's information. Stanford University, how it's okay to let your 3-year-old to watch porn and to play with themselves and play with them with other children. And look up NABLA, Man Boy Love, which been around for 40, 50 years, where they talk about it's okay for a man to love a boy. Not a man to love a man, but a man to love a boy. Not love him, oh, I'm being a mentor. No, have sex with us. That's what it is. And it's a lot of high people that's in part of that group. In the government, in Hollywood. We never talk about that. You never know about those societies and those events. And it's national. This is national. NAMBLA. National Association of Man Boy Love. Been around for years. A lot of those your politicians that y'all voting for, they are part of NAMBLA. And they got wives.
All right, now, Tara.
They Christians. The Lord told y'all to vote for them. It's those people. That is those. I'm gonna talk, and it's we real raw and we rebels.
Tara, we trying to stay on Facebook.
I'm trying to, but y'all great Obama. He part of NAMBLA. The great y'all President Obama, he part of that too. Sure is. I'm gonna tell it. Look it up. Google it. This one might get deleted. Look for this stuff. This one might, but we're
gonna stay on Facebook.
We're trying to. I hope we don't get put out. That's all right. We on the other platforms. We go on there. We got to talk about this stuff. It's time for us to really get woke. It's time for us to tell the truth. It's time for us to wake up and realize what's really going on in this world. We got 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes, man. Take us out. Because I keep going. I got to calm it down.
I hope you all heard us and you heard our hearts on tonight. Just start paying attention. Be watchful. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who's in your surroundings, and listen to your kids. I share with Tara. Sometimes you can be around, and I'm a 50-year-old woman. And I can be in the presence of certain men, and I can be like, you can feel it, and it's like, no. This ain't where I need to be. Certain people I wouldn't want to be in a room alone with me. And I'm 50 years old. So we have to get to a point. We've got to listen to our children also. And we've got to get to a point where we hold people accountable. It doesn't matter, their friend, family member, or whatnot. It's time to let some of that go because it affects a person's whole life. Because at some point you got to unpack all of that baggage, all of that trauma, from carrying that. So just be mindful, pay attention, watch your children, and not just your children. Sometimes you got to take a look at the children that's coming in to your home with your children, because that's something else I want us to talk about next week. Again, pedophiles use other children to influence.
That happens.
Yeah, they use
that happened to me with my grandbaby. Yeah,
other children to bring them into it's a lifestyle. It becomes a lifestyle for them, so they don't see where it's wrong. But some of your kids' friends may be luring them into this lifestyle. So we've got to be mindful also of the children. To me, children spend too much time alone now. We let them outside. They outside from house to house in the neighborhood for hours, sometimes. Or they
Yeah.
up and down the street. You sometimes you can lose track and get to doing stuff and you don't know what. It
Yeah.
don't take all day.
Yeah. It doesn't take
No.
but a few
So
seconds.
just a few seconds. So we have to be mindful, just pay attention and start researching because I'm telling you, Augusta is a hot spot. We always think about Atlanta, because Atlanta is. But guess what? Augusta is also. And a lot of it is because we're not paying attention to
Hmm.
what's going on around us. So just be mindful. And then next week we're gonna go in a little bit further. Anybody have any questions or anything, you can still drop them below because me and Tara, we take a look at comments and everything and we'll answer you. And if you somebody in it, reach out to somebody to get help. There are different programs. Call the police if you need to.
Yes.
Safe Homes of Augusta, I think they help as well. There are different outlets where you can get assistance.
Out of darkness will help you also.
Get out of darkness. So there are different programs that are helping. But that is it for this week, y'all. We thank y'all for joining us. Sorry if this was a little no, I'm not sorry that it was a little heavy. It's a conversation that needed to be had. Hopefully y'all will be back next week so we'll talk about it a little bit more. And then too, we need to start looking at where are our local politicians standing on this.
Yes. All right, you guys.
Ask
Until next
proper
week, this has
questions.
been Talk Therapy.
All
Thank
right,
you
y'all
so
have a
much
good
for
one.
joining us. Come back next week for more real, raw, and relevant information here at Talk Therapy. Sister, let's talk.